Hey everybody, welcome to A Cup of Coffeyville, where we fill your cup with everything Coffeyville. I'm Ben Brubaker, the city manager, and this is our second episode. We're getting a little bit more sophisticated here as we move along. We've started a long list of requests for community members, stakeholders in our community to come and speak with us. And today we have Brian Lawrence from CRMC. And so we're going to have a conversation about what's going on with our hospital, great updates, challenges that are out there, and the successes. And so we look forward to that conversation. Brian, welcome.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Maybe, Brian, you can start off. I would assume you've been here long enough. Most people know who you are, but just tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you've been here?
Yeah, I've been back with the hospital. This is actually my second time to be here in Coffeyville working at our hospital.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was here in the early 2000s and actually had an opportunity at that time to work in marketing, public relations, provider recruitment, and that was my role then, and then left, spent 10 years at another hospital, and then the board reached out and asked if I would entertain coming back to lead the organization as the president and CEO. And so I've been in that position now. This is my sixth year, which time has flown by, and there's been a lot that's happened in 6 years. But, just super blessed for the opportunity to be able to serve here and, really look to what the team at the hospital has been able to accomplish just to continue to provide and grow the access to healthcare, not only here in Coffeyville, but Montgomery County and the surrounding communities around it. So super excited and glad to be here today just to have a conversation about what's going on at the hospital and what are we doing, what's exciting, what are the challenges. So looking forward to it. Appreciate the invite.
Well, we're really happy that you're here and that you were willing. 6 years, that's awesome. So 6 years is this role, rather. But you've been here a large scope. So you've got, you said 25 years of seeing how things have operated in different roles. So I think that will also help as we talk about some of the history here. So I guess to kind of kick that off, this first question is help folks understand who owns the hospital. Does the city own the hospital? Are there, the board of directors own the hospital? How does that look like? What's the ownership?
So if you look at the hospital is a 501c3, so it's a nonprofit organization. So it's in itself its own organization. There's no technical ownership. It's not owned by the city. It's not owned by the board of directors. My role is not a shareholder. There's none of that. It is its own entity that is governed by the board of directors. The board of directors are in place to oversee not only my role, so they are responsible for hiring my position at the organization, but also just oversight of all the management and structure of the hospital. There has always been a tie, and you have to go all the way back to when the hospital was started in 1949, and there's always been a tie and connection to the city. That has progressed over the years. And one of the things that I feel is exciting is that, Ben, when you came in, the collaboration between the hospital and the city, to me, wasn't at the level that I was desiring, because I feel like that's an important relationship. And you very quickly jumped in and came over and said, I want to learn about what's going on. And you and I have had an opportunity to exchange a lot of dialogue, over the short period of time that you've been in your role. And I think have been able to really be progressive and forward-looking as to what that relationship is. What changes do we need to make to align both the city and the hospital to be able to continue to be sustainable, to continue to be strategic and have growth opportunities, along with improving the overall healthcare delivery model for our community. And, our vision is we want to create a healthier future for all. And I think as we stand today, the collaboration, the partnership, the connection between the city and the hospital makes that opportunity very, very successful. So today, if we just look at it, what is that connection? So the elected city commission has oversight and the ability to have input and approval on our board of directors. And we've evolved
City
that
influence.
right. And so that maintains that connection there. And the ability for the commission to have input into that piece is important for me, because when we look at communities that are thriving, and I think all of us want Coffeyville to thrive, to grow, to be a place that people want to come, live, work, and play and educate. That is important, and healthcare is a vital component to that overall success.
Okay. So when we talk about this relationship then between the city commissioners and the board, hospital board, the changes recently is there used to be a board of trustees. It's now particularly that board. And so how do you think that influence of the decision of who those board members are by the city commission, why is that important, would you feel? And why do you think we made this change from trustees to just core board? And maybe also what does that change now benefit the hospital?
Right. Again, we got to look back to history and why was the board of trustees put into place. And it really was about to take advantage of bond issuing financing, back when I think it would have been like the 79 hospital portion was built through the 85 and the 05 additions that were made. There were bonds that were issued, and you have to have that connection back through the city in order to do that. Those bonds were paid off early by the hospital. And so that need to have that level of connection really was getting to a point that wasn't, it's always valuable, right, to have more people there, but really maximizing the time, the talents and the skills of the board of trustees. Their scope was just so limited. And, I felt like at the time and just conversations that, I want to be able to maximize people's willingness to serve. I don't want someone coming in and saying, hey, I'll serve as a trustee. We meet once, 2 times a year, for less than an hour. That's to me not good use of people's time, talents, skills, and abilities. And so what I'm most excited about is because of this change, we've been able to take those a few of those people that were serving in the trustee roles, and now they're serving on other committees for us, committees that I really feel like they have a passion for, that they can have impact on, and then also still maintaining that connection back to the city, with the city commission being able to have input and some say into who's on our board as the board of directors. And the board of directors' responsibility is to govern the hospital and have management oversight.
So there'll be a level of presentation to the city commission to say a board seat is up. We've gone out, we've done our due process. Here's who the board recommends. And then the commission at that point gets to say yes, no, maybe so. If they do say no, what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so they'll have the opportunity to say yes, they want to affirm that individual or individuals, whatever the presentation is at that time. They have the opportunity to say no. And then they also have the opportunity just to say silent on it. And then after a period, if there's no continued discussion around it, that person would then be affirmed. If the commission would say no, definitely there'd be a dialogue between myself, our board chair, and the city commission about, okay, what's the concern? Yeah. And I think that's validated. We'll go look and we'll bring another slate of candidates forward that says, here's who we have now, and continue down that road. But I would hope that, as far as myself and our current board and board chair, that we're doing our due diligence enough that we're not going to bring someone in that the commission, would probably struggle with. And so,
well, and to that point, this is a nonprofit.
Right.
It's not a city hospital, so that connection. So I think there's the collaboration is still there, the desire to be on the same page with the city, but it's also releasing you to go and find good people that sitting board of a nonprofit thinks are going to help them.
And I think you hit on a good point. It's a nonprofit. So those individuals that have the desire to serve on the hospital board, that is a volunteer role. They are giving their time, their talents, their skills, their ability, all for the betterment of the organization. And so making sure we are aligning people with our mission, our vision, and our values in conjunction with the cities is important to me. And as we go down that road and we look for board members in the future, that will be how we will approach it.
Awesome. Well, we started off talking about the 1949 building, and I know that I've seen lots of comments and heard from people as, what are they doing with that building? Are we kicking people out? We're not using them anymore. What's going on with that building and some of the other facilities there that you have?
Yeah. So particularly I'll start with the 1949 building. It's a 1949 building. And, while we have done, the organization has done its best to keep up and maintain that building, part of that building's design and infrastructure are beyond challenging to maintain. A lot of the infrastructure piping and stuff runs through block walls. So getting accessibility to water lines, sewer lines, et cetera, are all becoming extremely challenging. The other thing is that building has a lot of concrete in its structure, and just since 1949 and the age, we're getting a lot of water penetration down through that. And so we've got some areas that, as we go through the seasons, freezes, expands, it cracks. We've got areas where concrete is actually falling off. And so, we've had to block off some areas. And so really just it's getting to a point that the upkeep and being able to go in and repair and adjust it to what fits our needs is becoming challenging. But I think the other thing to couple onto that, it's just not, hey, it's a 1949 building, we don't want to take care of it. I think we also have to look at how healthcare has progressed, right? Mm. So if you go back to when the hospital was originally built in 1949, if you went to the hospital, you were going to probably stay at the hospital. If you had a procedure, a surgery, you were in the hospital for a week, 10 days, longer. Now, 80% of what we do is all on the outpatient basis. So the need to have, these massive structures, with lots of beds. And this is one question I've had was, we keep reducing our bed size here in hospital. That means our hospital shrinking. No, we are just keeping up with how healthcare trends are changing, and stuff is shifting more to the outpatient realm. So, we don't have a need to have, 80 plus inpatient beds.
You can go in and with a camera and something the size of a needle have appendix surgery. It's amazing. So,
people, they see that side of it and they think, man, it's just, they just keep shrinking our hospital. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to continue to right size our facility in order to meet the changing demands of the hospital. And us pushing things to outpatient, that's not necessarily directed by us. Most of those things are directed by CMS and the other private insurance payers that are saying, technology's advanced. Ben needs a surgery. No, Ben doesn't get to stay at the hospital. He can recover there, but then Ben's going to go home.
A lot of outside influences.
Yes.
That affect those. I guess with those outside influences, maybe let's shift to challenges in general. And this is our countrywide. This is the insurance market. Then you say, now we're a rural hospital. What are some of the headwinds you're facing financially? How does a nonprofit pay for something that is up against those insurers, those big payees, and all of their rules and regulations? How does that affect us locally?
It has an effect on every hospital, and it doesn't matter if you're a 600-800 bed hospital or if you're a 25 bed critical access hospital. Things affect you at different levels. Us being a rural hospital, there are additional challenges to that, but the margin and what we get reimbursed versus what our costs are, those have continued to shrink. And we're looking at margins right now between 0.5% positive or 1% positive to the negative.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things that go in that. And there's good and there's bad, right? So probably the biggest thing and most recently that has had, to me, the most effect on things has been the creation of the Medicare Advantage plans. And so people that are Medicare age eligible have an option. They can take traditional Medicare, which is what we've all paid in for years, ran by the government,
Right.
known as CMS, Medicare, whatever you want to call it. The federal government said we've got to do something because the cost of maintaining that program is outpacing the amount of funds that are coming in. And so we need to do something to change the course of that. And so they went out and said, hey, private insurance groups, we want to incentivize you to create a plan that is for Medicare eligible people. And so people now that reach that age have a choice. They can take traditional Medicare or they can go get a Medicare Advantage plan. And that could be through Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, kind of the two bigger ones in our area. And they can go get those plans. Those plans are vastly different. Yeah. They're different in only the benefits that are offered to the insured live, but also how we get reimbursed, what we have to do in order to get things approved. And that really has been a huge disadvantage to me, to hospitals across the nation. And we're also seeing those disadvantages hit our patients. Things that they thought under traditional Medicare were covered under a Medicare Advantage plan might not be covered at all. And so it creates some additional risk for them. There are some benefits that they're using to sell those programs, like discount gym memberships or free groceries or a bunch of things that they're luring people in, along with sometimes a lower premium. But at the end of the day, there's stuff on the backside that are affecting those patients and definitely have an impact on us as a hospital.
It's complicated.
Very complicated.
And the more I've learned of it, I'm just like, wow, it is so complicated. We're talking national impacts across the board, and you have to dealing with locally. And the correlation there between legal obligations, moral obligations, to give people care that don't have insurance, and maybe they're also walking through the door and don't have money. How do you balance that legal, moral? You think of doctors and this code of health and care that they have, wanting to care for anybody, but you're also running, the 1949 building and the cost to go along with that and the cost to attract staff. How do you balance that?
It's a difficult balance, but again, we're a nonprofit. We're a mission-driven organization. But because we are those things, we have federal regulations that we have to comply with. And we have to do a medical screening, make sure people are stable that walk through our ER door, regardless of their ability to pay. So that's kind of the hard, fast rule. And so we are regulatory government enforces that, and we have to, we comply with that. But because we're also a not-for-profit organization, we have what we call community benefit. And basically that is uncompensated care that we're providing back to the community we serve. And we have a process that people that are coming in that don't have insurance, that don't have the means to pay, can fill out a financial assistance package, and we walk them through that process. And then we have a sliding scale depending on where they hit of how much assistance they would get on their care. And at the end of the year, all of that we get acknowledged for that, not only to maintain our not-for-profit status, but also as we're looking at the benefits we're providing to the community. And any given year, that community benefit number is in the tens of millions for us, what we're giving back.
It's amazing.
But again, it's part of the reason we're here. It's part of our mission and what we want to do. But it is a very difficult balancing act to be able to do both and maintain and keep and advance and replace equipment and people and all those things as we go through that.
And you say people. I think post-COVID, most employers, our country again has seen the difficulty in hiring. Back to the same challenges. Well, we're rural. You're nonprofits. How is the recruiting going? How do we attract new providers in, those doctors, nurses? You hear about nurse shortages all over. How's that going? How are we doing in Coffeyville on that?
I would say in Coffeyville, we're maintaining. We have to be very creative. The labor market for a lot of the critical pieces, nurses, lab technicians, radiology, rehab, all those personnel, the market demands, because there is a nationwide shortage. Us keeping up with that has been very challenging, and we've done a tremendous amount of work over the last year to maintain to be competitive in the wage market and work through that. But this week I was actually just reading an article about just nationwide, the number of physicians coming out, the number of nurses coming out versus the number that are leaving. Particular for physicians, the number of physicians graduating every year, we're producing about 29,000 new physicians a year. That's 50% of how many are retiring.
Of course it is.
we're creating, again, a big gap in that. And so what are we doing to combat that? That's where you're seeing the nurse practitioners and those other levels of care that are stepping in. But there's also, you can't replace a brain surgeon with a nurse practitioner. And so they have their role in this continuity of care and what we're doing. And so they're playing a critical role in that. But when you take an advanced practice nurse, that was a nurse at some point, right? And so you're pulling them out of that group of nurses. And so, it's working there.
But effect all the way down that chain.
It does. And so really, in the state of Kansas, I serve on the Kansas Hospital Association, has a foundation board that really does a lot of work around what are we doing to create programs? What are we doing to get more people into these pipelines? And so we're doing a lot of work on that. It's called the Kansas Hospital Association Health Works Board. Okay. Around that, we're looking at colleges. I know that we've got medical schools that are looking, how do they make connections with students that are entering a junior college that maybe they don't have the opportunities to go straight to a KU or straight to Missouri Southern or one of the bigger schools that can get them there. But how do they make connection with a student that has a desire to serve in healthcare that maybe just needs a little bit of guidance, a little bit of assistance? So I know they're doing those things, and we're trying to encourage them to do that. And so I think there's a lot of things going on that's going to be hopefully helpful to get more people back engaged. But again, we look at the shift in the dynamics in healthcare, and some of those things are playing a part into that. And, healthcare is a 24/7 business. Yeah. And so we don't ever shut the lights off and close down. And that creates some quality of life challenges for people. And so as an organization, what are we doing that's creative? What are we doing that's different to make those things work? And so I think just all those things that we're working through to try to, be able to create an environment, have the culture that people want to come work and serve in is where we're at today, and kind of what we're doing and focused on moving forward.
I love the word culture, and it means something different for every organization and different people. I think there can be a culture in your community too. And sometimes social media will paint different pictures than I think what a majority of people feel. And I believe while I've been here, the people who love and appreciate Coffeyville, Montgomery County, this region, there's a lot of them, and there's great things. I know that Montgomery County Action Council, the state of Kansas, the cities participate in trying to attract back even the kids that have left, right? They go off to KU or K-State or somewhere else. And then while they're there, they, meet somebody, get married, settle down. Before you know it, they haven't come back. In those recruiting efforts, do you see people coming back, or are we attracting new people in here that maybe for the same reason they want to come to the rural environment? Like, what is that attractant coming back? Is it families here? Is there even a theme?
No, I think there is. There's def connection on both of those things. When we're recruiting someone to come back, and particularly a physician, we're looking for that local tie. Yeah. So Dr. Kane that's coming in August, he's from Wichita. Okay. It's not Coffeyville, but geographically
close to home.
Close to home. Yeah. His wife's and family lives in Owasso.
Oh, it's perfect. Right
so
in the middle.
Coffeyville's right in the middle. Yeah. So, when we found that connection, that we really hit hard on that. So trying to find something that is a tie back geographically to our region is something that we look at probably number one, number two on the list of how we're going to get them. We're trying a lot of things with the school district. We're a new job shadowing program coming up. Things that we can do to get our young people exposure to the field of healthcare. Our partnership and collaboration with our community college here and the programs that they're offering, what we're doing. We partner with other of the colleges in the area and having clinical rotations through the program. We are really trying to do everything we can to give opportunities, give exposure to local students that have a desire to be in healthcare. Yeah. And we want to try to get them back here. And so trying to create everything we can do that gives those opportunities is important, because to me, there's no better way than to have somebody that's local, that is someone that's providing healthcare. There's just a trust factor there that to me is tremendous. And so that is a high priority for us when we're recruiting.
Okay. Well, a lot of great things going on with facilities and locations. So you're not just in Coffeyville, you have some locations outside the city. Is that right?
We have a clinic in Independence.
Okay.
So that's basically, we have our clinic in Independence, and then what we have here in Coffeyville. And we try to do our best to support Caney and Cherryville and
what is your region? Is it just traditionally just Coffeyville? Is it the school district? Is it the zip code?
Yeah, we provide a lot of care through Montgomery County in the bordering counties around that, but also we drop down into Nowata County. So northeastern Oklahoma, we have people that come up. And we provide care for them. And so really it is because of our geographic location, we have the opportunity to serve people from Oklahoma, and then, the surrounding counties in Montgomery County is, kind of that draw that we look at. And we also look at that from a strategy standpoint and how we can, we can't be all and provide all for all the healthcare needs, right? For the communities that we serve. And so how can we create an environment where people can get as much as they can here local, and then we can connect them with somebody that's
a network of care
geographically close, that they can get that next higher level of care needed, and then be able to come back and maintain that or whatever here with us. And so that's kind of a strategy that we've applied as we look at what we're offering, what partnerships and collaborations are we putting in place to be able to network that.
Okay, great. Well, other great things going on. There's construction. And construction, I'm sure, brings its own challenges to get along. But maybe talk about the new facility. When is it going to open? What's coming? What is it going to mean for staff? We can tie that back to recruiting. Is that something that's helpful, having facilities like that?
Yes, absolutely. Number one, thank you to our community, our staff at the hospital, numerous private foundations and foundations, and our local legislators, so city, county, state, federal, all had a huge part in what you're seeing being constructed there across from our ER entrance, which is a 16,000 square foot medical office building. Okay, what is a medical office building? That basically is where we're going to put our primary care, women's health, pediatrics. We'll also have our occupational medicine, B&I, as most people around here know it, will be in there. And then we're also going to have a pharmacy component in that building. And right now, all those services are shoved into the first floor of the 49 building.
Okay.
And, people that are coming in for a provider visit are walking 2.5 to 3 football fields from the closest parking spot to an exam room. That's not the experience we want for people. And so we set out with a dream to be able to build a new facility, to kind of start a master facility plan for what we needed to overall address for the facility. And we've worked through it. But again, going back to, we work on a 0.5% to 1% or negative margin. Having the capital dollars to invest in that is just not feasible. And so we had to look outside of our operations. And so that building, 100% is funded through opportunities of our community stepping up and saying, hey, we believe in what you're doing and we want to buy in. Our own associates stepping up and doing that, our volunteers, our medical staff, many private foundations that contributed and individuals.
100%.
100%. That building is not funded by hospital operations. It is funded by the people of this community. Again, our city, county, state, and federal legislators that believed in what we're doing, that want to protect healthcare here in Coffeyville, Kansas, all are the reason why that's happening.
Okay. That's exciting.
It
It's
is.
fun. It's
It
fun
is.
to see that construction. Of course, we're going to be doing, the city is going to be doing some street projects over there. So we're going to have some nice streets in the area, nice new facilities. What a blessing for this community to have that. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. It is really exciting. Yesterday, we took some of the leadership team through the building because it's sheetrocked on the inside now. And so
It's moving fast.
it's moving fast. We're going to plan tentatively open sometime in October.
Okay.
So
Almost here.
Yeah, it is.
You just started it, I think.
I know.
moving
It is.
fast.
It has moved really,
Is there
really
an
fast.
intent to move it fast, or is that just the nature of the size and everything else that's moving fast?
We are within our timeline that we set out
Okay.
to do. But again, I cannot thank the community support, our local, state, federal legislators for what they did to make that happen. Our associates stepped up in a big way to believe in that. And to me, I was talking to the leadership team yesterday, creating something that our community believes in and we can connect them back to, but also that our associates believe in and connect back to me just shows the level of commitment, the passion and dedication that our team has for healthcare in this community. And so I can't thank everybody enough, because that was a project that was just going to be very, very difficult to figure out how to do without everybody jumping in and say, hey, we believe in it. We believe in what you guys are doing. And I'm super excited for the team to be able to get over there. It is a huge recruiting thing. Dr. Kane coming, that was a big deal for him. And I think it will be as we move forward with new providers and adding them in the future.
The recruiting part is so important on top of that. And I think that, it's doubly for residents. You want to walk into a place where you feel like you're going to get high quality care. I think recruiting, they want to work in a place where they feel like they can give quality care. And here we're doing that. And so it doesn't have to be in the Wichitas or Topekas or Kansas City where we can have things like this. It can be here too. And because of those partners, like you said, pulling it together, that's exciting for Coffeyville. I think exciting for the region. And hopefully people continue to see that you can be hopeful. We can have good things. It's not everything's on the decline. It's over. We're dying. Population's down. No, there are good things. And I think there's a lot of partners, as you've put it, and community members who are investing in the community. I hope people see that and recognize that. Are there other advancements in facilities or the grounds that you see coming? I would assume you're moving out then of the 49 building, and that will be done. What do we do with that building?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of key components that we don't have a plan yet for that are still in the 49 building that are critical to our operations. And so I think we get through this building. We are making preparations and plans right now to have a new EMS, because we run the EMS for the southern half of the county through the hospital. That's funded by the sales tax that the citizens of Coffeyville area approved through the city, voted on. City commission helps direct that and then goes out for a vote. And so that half-cent sales tax that's funded, helps offset the cost of running EMS, emergency services, for the area. But their current facility is not only were the newer trucks that you have to have now, they won't fit in those bays.
That's a problem.
Is a problem because that's a requirement. They have to be stored indoors. But just the overall living conditions, and as we see, our group of EMTs and paramedics, as we see those evolving and the space that they need, it's subpar. And so that's our next phase. And I think we'll see probably that kind of kick off later this year, right as the medical office.
Around. We're going to get it done.
We're going to get it done. So, just another opportunity where we're taking advantage of opportunities that are out there, not hospital operations. These are things that grants and other opportunities that we have been blessed to participate in that are help funding some of these projects that are going to help further the healthcare delivery model and sustainability for us in the future. And so, I again go back to where we started, that connection with the city and that collaboration and the support from the city commission through the citizens that live here in Coffeyville that, have blessed us with that, sales tax support. It's important. And supporting that program as we move forward, because again, some of those things would be difficult based on our current reimbursement environment in healthcare.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably important to note, if we didn't say this earlier, so the 1949 building is owned by the city, and some of the recent decisions on how we're trying to advance and move forward and the changes to the board, that's one too that the commission has set in motion a plan to turn that over fully to. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to turn into the Taj Mahal. It's still this old building we've talked to.
Right.
But what I'm hearing is there's still some components that are going to continue to be run, just not the full-fledged building as people may have expect.
Absolutely. So the 49 building and then the basically almost a city block around that is all owned by the city building commission or city of Coffeyville. It's just the easy way to handle it. So working through that as we want to continue to make advancements and changes, and aligning that is again something that you and I, city staff and the commission walked through, and again feels like it aligns strategically where we both want to head and the things that we see probably out in front of us that we're going to need to address and do in the future. It makes those things possible. And again, I appreciate the collaboration with you, with the city commission, and just what we've been able to do. It's important.
Well, when you're talking to doctors, specialists, folks relocating, when you're talking to the staff that we have, we talk to the community right now, what do you say to them? What position is the hospital in, and is the future bright?
I would say that the future for the healthcare delivery model here in Coffeyville is brighter than it's ever been. With that, there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of things that we're having to work through. And it's a very fluid situation that we are just working through, continuing to evolve, and things that are maybe creeping up from history that are affecting things that we're working through. And, we try to address every situation, and we are not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. but we want to be accountable for those things, and we want to try to deal with them with compassion, love, and grace, and working with people. But I think everything that team has done in the last 6 years, 7 years, and when I say team, I'm talking from our board down through the organization, has aligned us to the position that we're in right now. And there's tough days ahead of us. There's challenges. What's going on right now with the one big beautiful bill at the federal level, we're paying real close attention to that because that could have some negative impacts on us. What are we going adjustments we're going to need to make to deal with those things, depending on how they fall out. Yeah. All those things are out there, and those things are never going to go away. But the desire to have high quality healthcare close to home with people you know and trust, that we are not deviating from. And we're going to continue to push forward to execute and deliver on that. And for that and what the team is doing, it's really bright. We've got a great host of providers here. We've got a great team there. We're trying to address the facility things and, all the other things that are challenging. Yeah. And again, we're going to make some mistakes, but we just are really excited about where we're at, where we're heading, and the buildings and just all of that it's a blessing. Yeah. It's a blessing to me to get to be there and serve and work alongside all these folks is awesome.
I think you wrapped it up pretty well. Any final thoughts you want to share? Anything that we haven't covered? I think we've done a pretty good job hitting it all.
Yeah, I think so. It's been fun. I think where do I want to leave it is thank you. Thank you for not only the city commission for being supportive and collaborative in what we're doing, but thank you to the people that choose to get their health care from us because it's important. It's how we keep healthcare here. And we put out a lot of patient testimonials. We want people to be able to tell their story about what we're doing, the team and the work that they're doing. We're trying to build a for culture, and that it means, that we have a desire to be for our community. And that's what we want to do each and every day. And we do that through our purpose, which is to give a healthier future for all, that people can live to the fullest of their lives and be able to know that they can get health care right here at home from trusted individuals. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. We just appreciate all the things the hospital is doing for this community. When I talk economic development and folks that want to come, or we talked about revitalization, how we continue to make our community better. All of those pictures include great health care and having a hospital and what a blessing this is to the community. So please pass my best to everyone there and the staff, and appreciate all the work they're doing.
Will do. Thanks, Ben.
Everybody, this is the end of episode 2 of A Cup of Coffeyville. I really like that statement. This is what this is meant to be, is filling your cup, trying to give you insight that maybe you don't hear all the time. And so if you have people you want to hear from in our community or our region, you're interested in us taking a dive and asking those deeper questions and trying to understand and really being both transparent and educating you, please let us know. Reach out, give us those topics. If you're watching this right now, hit like, pass it on, share with your friends, and thanks so much for joining. That's a wrap.
That was good. That was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.